Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Okay, we'll resume this evening's regular council meeting following a brief in-camera discussion and a public hearing. Welcome to everyone in the gallery tonight and those watching at home. Reminder that for those in the room, tonight's meeting is being broadcast live, and for future viewing on our YouTube channel, it's also available on Tell-Il for the next week or so. I'll begin by acknowledging that we are gathered here today in Unama'ki, the land of the fog, a part of Mi'kma'ki, the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people since time immemorial. We honor and thank the Mi'kmaq for sharing their land and home with us. Just for folks who are watching at home, our CAO is in the building just down the hall, but attending virtually because we all have the plague, and apologies for the marbles in my mouth. It's actually cough drops. So we are going to get through this meeting though. So I'm going to ask for everyone to stand insofar as you're able for the playing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée.
Okay, I'll ask either the CAO or clerk to take the roll call of councillors.
Thank you, Madam Chair. District 1, Councillor Sean Sampson.
Present.
District 2, Warden Lois Landry.
Present.
District 3, Councillor Brian Marchand.
Present.
Thank you. District 4, Deputy Warden Amanda Mombercat.
Present.
Thank you. And District 5, Councillor Brent Sampson.
Present.
Madam Chair, the roll has been called.
Thank you very much. So we had an in-camera session earlier. Are there any motions anyone would like to make as a result?
Warden, yes, thank you. I would like to make a motion. I'll move that Elizabeth Campbell be appointed to the IDEA Committee and as Richmond County's representative to the Eastern Counties Regional Library Board as well.
We have a seconder to that?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Any other motions?
Warden, yes, thank you. I will move to transfer funds from the General Administration account to a new GL for staff recognition and compassion. The dollar amount to include costs associated with recognition for retirement, compassion, and staff appreciation, including items outlined in the awards and recognition policy, and further move to refer future use of this new GL to budget deliberations so that it can be consistently separated for accountability purposes.
Thank you very much. Can we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brian Marchand. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any items that folks don't see on the agenda? It circulated last week. Hearing no additions to add, I would entertain a motion to approve. Okay, I saw Councillor Sean Sampson moves. Councillor Marchand, you open to seconding? Great, seconded by Councillor Brian Marchand. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We will move on now to review of the minutes. Our regular monthly meeting was held on November 25th. For folks who follow along at home, that's on pages 4 to 12 of your package. Any errors or omissions to report there? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Councillor Marchand. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So in reviewing the website, putting up some documents, apologies for missing these, but we actually had 2 public hearings going back to January and April that need to be, those minutes need to be approved, not at subsequent public hearings, but here. So the minutes for the public hearing held on June 4th, are on pages 13 to 15 of your package. I would be open to a motion to adopt those. Moved by Councillor Marchand. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. And the second one on pages 16 to 17 of the package, that one, public meeting was held on April 22nd. Be looking for a motion to adopt as circulated. Moved by Deputy Warden Sampson. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Sorry, Deputy Warden Mumbercat.
Okay.
Sorry. And who, and you okay to second? Seconded by Councillor Brian Marchand. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We have a 10-minute question period. We'll take questions from the gallery or by phone. The number is 226-9885. A reminder, this question period is restricted to items that are on our committee reports. So committee reports, while I wait in case the phone rings, we're open to hearing any comments from the public before we vote on motions that are contained in these committee reports. So hearing no questions, seeing no questions from the gallery, there's always a little delay, so I feel like I ramble here every time. But okay, so hearing no ring-a-ding-ding, committee reports is next on our agenda. So we have 5 committee reports to review this evening. Been a busy month. So I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Warden Mumbercat for the Committee of the Whole report for December of 2025. For folks who are following along, those are on pages 18 to 20 of your package.
Thank you, Warden. Committee of the Whole report for December 2025. The committee met on December 2nd, 2025. The committee discussed establishing a minimum acceptable bid for properties scheduled for the February 6th, 2026 tax sale. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and authorize staff to sell properties AAN 00176303, AAN 00367028, and AAN 1626272 at the February 6, 2026 tax sale for the minimum acceptable bid for each property as discussed in camera.
We have a motion. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Marchand. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
The committee discussed the implementation of a fire protection rate on property owners in Point Tupper. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and provide formal written notice to all Point Tupper property owners advising that, effective April 1st, 2026, a fire protection rate of $0.05 per $100 of assessments, or 5 cents per $100 of assessment, will be applied to their properties, and direct staff to complete all required notification, administrative, and communication steps to implement the fire protection rate in accordance with the Municipal Government Act.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, and it has been seconded by Councillor Marchand. Is there any discussion on that? I just want to make note to the clerk. We see on page 19 it actually has a longer motion. Do we need to read that in for the record?
It's totally up to you.
We don't need to.
Motion covers it.
Great.
But if you feel that you
No,
want
that's
to
fine.
go along with it,
I know sometimes we have to read them. Happy not to on behalf of my throat. Okay, and so we have a motion on the floor, and it has been seconded. I do want to say I wasn't at the Committee of the Whole meeting I'll just maybe make this point, Councillor Marchand, before I go to you. I wasn't at the Committee of the Whole meeting, but I was able to watch it live. And there was a question about how much money this would take in. We won't know that because we need to have the assessments in January that will tell us what the value of those properties are. But if we had done it this past year, it would have brought in $41,815.95, just to give you the exact dollar amount. Councillor Marchand.
Thank you, Warden. I just want to note in the notice going out, there's going to be some community engagement sessions in Point Tupper. That's in the notice.
Sure.
Very bottom, so
Yep.
there's no date and time, just for anybody listening if they do want to go.
It says that place and time to be determined, and I
Yeah.
believe there's information about, that there are requirements in terms of that being posted a certain number of days, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
So procedurally, I had voted against this at Committee of the Whole because I felt that we didn't have enough information, and I believe my interpretation of the advice we had provided to staff was to come back to council with some information, not necessarily with a recommendation. But regardless of all that, I think, lesson learned. Procedurally, I've made this motion, but I'm not in favor of the motion. So I just want to confirm that that's...
That actually, that came up at our new council orientation. So you are permitted to, and actually, anybody can make a motion, hear what the public, what the fellow councillors have to say, and change their mind anyway. Yep, for sure.
You're not expected to speak against it.
Right. Yeah,
If you had something you wanted to say,
Right,
but
yeah.
ask someone else to make it.
Right, yeah, because I believe that was an instance where you did that. But yes, it's absolutely able, they cover that specifically. Okay, anybody else have comments, concerns to address? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay?
Nay. One nay for the record. Okay, go ahead.
The committee discussed firearm training. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and direct staff to explore costs associated with hosting the firearms safety course locally for council's consideration during budget deliberations.
Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brian Marchand. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
The committee discussed the Richmond Arena staff report. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and proceed with all 4 recommendations outlined by staff in the briefing note, which include the $15,000 in spending for updated drawings, carrying out the maintenance activities deemed appropriate to reduce the risk of failures, conducting a building condition audit, and proceeding with the floor replacement in the 2026-2027 budget.
We have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Marchand. Any discussion on that? Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. I just have one question on the building condition audit. We had gotten, not maybe a thorough audit, but we had gotten some information on the condition of the building, and recommendations that we are approving here came out of that. So I'm wondering, what are we asking for again here? How in-depth are we going with another audit? Like, is this to do with accessibility, or is this to do with the structure? Okay.
Go ahead, CAO.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To you and through you to council, it is an audit that is going to look beyond just the roof and the floor and the refrigeration, because there are more than those 3 things that we had to look at. It's a much more wider scan that if council is going to go forward and approve these renovations to extend the life, we want to make sure that we're looking at the whole building, not just the floor, the roof, and the refrigeration. That's all.
Okay. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. And just, I guess, a point of clarification, or I'm asking for some clarification, proceeding with the floor replacement in the 2026-2027 budget, do we anticipate the building condition audit would be done by then so that we'd have a sense of what that would cost? Or will the building condition audit get into those class whatever estimates?
CAO, do you have?
I can't speak to that
Okay.
on the timing. I would hope the two of them are going to speak to each other so that we have all the numbers
Right.
eventually at some point this spring. So, but I can't confirm that for you at this point in time. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. We talked about with the director, CAO. He said he would need a lot of time to be ordering the equipment if we were going to ever do this in the summer 26. So is he looking at ordering, or is he looking at getting ready to order equipment in case in the budget we decide to go ahead? So that's another worry.
I can confirm right now that I have 2 reports from him sitting in my email that I have to go through, and both of them are regarding the arena. So he's already working on this to try and hit the deadlines as best we can.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing no other discussion on the matter, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
This concludes the Committee of the Whole report for the month of December 2025, and I move its adoption.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Warden. There's a motion to adopt the Committee of the Whole report. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor Brent Sampson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. So we, in our meeting package, we have the next committee, audit committee, listed as verbal. So that meeting was held last night and requires a motion to council. So that information is in the form of a report, but it is being presented verbally by Deputy Warden. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. This is the Audit Committee report for December 15th, 2025. The committee discussed the external auditing services request for proposals. I move that the council accept the recommendation of the Audit Committee and award the contract for external auditing services to Doane Grant Thornton, being the successful proponent under the request for proposals RFP process.
Motion on the floor. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Marchand. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
This concludes the Audit Committee report for December 2025, and I move its adoption.
Great. There's a motion to adopt the Audit Committee report. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Sean Sampson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Our next committee report is the Bylaw and Policy Committee. Those are on pages 21 to 28 if you're following along. I'll ask our Deputy Warden to take us through that.
Thanks, Warden. Bylaw and Policy Committee report for December 2025. The committee met on December 2nd, 2025. The committee discussed the delegations and petitions to Municipal Council policy. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Bylaw Policy Committee and adopt the delegations and petitions to Municipal Council policy as amended.
There's a motion on the floor. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson. Any discussion on that? Yes, go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Sorry, Warden, I'm looking for the documentation here. It just struck me that this policy will replace 2 old ones. Do we have those as repealed in the? Yeah. Okay, perfect, thank you. I couldn't remember. Thank you very much.
Great. So this motion enacts a new policy that has embedded in it that we are replacing old policy. Yep, fair enough. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify, oh, sorry, go ahead.
In section 5.5, I'll have to not vote for this because I just worry where it says.
Can I just be clear that this is 5.5, you're talking about the one for the delegations, right?
Correct.
Okay, so
Sorry.
that's on pages 23, if you're following along, go ahead.
Yeah, just the section where it says like matters in which the municipality has entered into legal proceedings, matters related to personnel issues. And bylaws for which a public hearing has been scheduled, we will not entertain, it will not be entertained by municipal council. So my worry is, if there was a public hearing and then the public decided to, based on that, had gathered some information, wanted to make a presentation to us about that, and that's the reason I can't support it, especially where you say it's a definite no. You'll not entertain a delegation or presentation coming. I can't support it because of that. Just in case new information came through and a group wanted to present on a bylaw that we had a public hearing, I think they should be given that right. So I will not be supporting this.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Thanks, Warden. CAO, I thought we looked into this and there was a legal, that the MGA prevented
There is.
us from doing this, so
It does.
this just
If
reflects.
there's a prescribed process for
Yes.
a number of things, which are listed here, you have a time and place where you can hear from the public, and this is to prevent it happening again, or somebody trying to circumvent the process that is prescribed under the MGA. So
Right.
it's just abiding by the MGA and the process that's in place when it comes to certain matters.
Okay.
It's not all matters, it's just certain matters that actually have a public hearing as part of their process.
Right. So whether this clause was in the policy
Press
or not, oh, yeah, it's on. Whether this clause was in the policy or not, we still would not be able to entertain those delegations before council. That's my point. Okay.
Not abiding by the MGA, we
Okay.
would not.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
So you're telling me somebody couldn't come back with new information and speak about something because it says where it has been scheduled, where the bylaws for which a public hearing has been scheduled. So I don't know if you take that to be before the hearing has actually happened, it's just been scheduled, or after. But my thought is, if someone, wasn't able to get to a public hearing, or even though there was a public hearing and they wanted to bring a presentation to us about a bylaw, they'd like us, there's many formats as it speaks in here. You don't have to have them as a presentation. You can have it as something else, an email, whatever, just, a letter. But I just wouldn't want to see us not entertaining someone bringing something forward. And with this, my fear is that it would not. Just because a public hearing was scheduled, if it's a year ago, if it was 6 months ago, if it was whatever, I can't see that someone would have that in the MGA to stop someone from being able to send an email, present a letter, do something, because there are other ways. You don't have to have them as a presenter or committee of the whole. You can have them meet with us some other ways or present information to us other ways. So if that's there, I'm surprised. I guess that's something that needs to be looked at.
Okay, anything else? Okay, hearing no other discussion on the matter, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? One nay, motion carries. Carry on.
Okay, thanks, Warden. The committee discussed the hospitality policy. I move that council accept the recommendation of the bylaw policy committee and adopt the hospitality policy as amended.
So we have a motion to adopt the hospitality policy, moved by the Deputy Warden, seconded by Councillor Marchand. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, this concludes the monthly report of the bylaw policy committee for December 2025, and I move its adoption.
Okay, can we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So our next report is the Fire Services Committee report, page 29. I'll ask Councillor Marchand, who represents council on this committee, to deliver this report.
Thank you, Warden. The committee met on November the 22nd, special meeting, and November 26, 2025. The committee discussed the use of a consultant to conduct an audit across all departments in Richmond County. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Fire Protection Services Committee and include in budget deliberations funding from the operating budget be allocated to retain the professional services of a qualified consultant, and that the consultant be engaged in consultation with the Fire Service Protection Committee to conduct a comprehensive fire service equipment audit across all departments, including, number 1, an assessment of equipment, apparatus, and stations currently in use, and number 2, identification of the equipment and resources required to bring all departments to a consistent, modern, and regulation-aligned standard, and that the consultant be directed to prepare the final report and master plan summarizing findings and recommendations to be presented to both the Fire Protection Services Committee and Council for consideration.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Can we have a seconder? I have quite a number of comments to offer on that. Great, thank you. So, seconded by the Deputy Warden. So I would like to maybe just frame this a little bit. The fire services meetings tend to be quite long, and there has been a clear indication from government that there will be changes coming to the way fire protection services are governed in the province of Nova Scotia, and that is going to happen via legislation that is expected by September of 2026. And so I really do have to commend the fire chiefs, and not just the fire chiefs, but folks that are involved with our volunteer fire departments. So rather than have these on a Wednesday night that went on and on and on, a group of, 30 people, in some cases 3-4 people from each department attended a Saturday session. And so started to look at what that legislation might mean, and also reflecting on what the 2019/2020 report talked about. So there were some recommendations in there as well. And this one actually, so the Director of Finance was at that meeting on Saturday the 22nd, and it was sort of, she helped craft this, but I wanted to speak a little bit about what some of this is. At the NSFM fall conference, there was actually quite the province in preparation for this, NSFM has stated, as have the, and put it to the minister and opposition leaders, that municipalities may very well need some funding to make some of these changes happen. And so what we saw with coastal protection is sometimes really quick turnaround for possibilities around funding that could be available. So fire departments really want to get ahead of this. So in September, they'd like to have a good audit of what they have. Also, we had to have a special addition to the agenda for the last meeting because out of the blue, $200,000 was available to regional or municipal applications from the Emergency Services Provider Fund. Our staff turned that around very quickly, but that's not a good way to do business. So we should have a clear inventory of what is available to our volunteer fire departments so that we can respond when opportunities come along. There has also been a levy conversation that is happening that was precipitated by the 2019-2020 report, and that just strictly speculation, like nothing that we would do this year because we do have legislation coming. But in those conversations, we were hearing things like, well, I feel the levy should be 10 cents, or I feel like the levy should be 15. We shouldn't be making financial decisions based on what you feel or what you think. We should have a clear indication of what residents need for fire departments to be able to deliver good service to our residents and have that strategically outlined in 10-year, 10 or 20-year increments. And so finally, even if we made no changes, even if there was no legislation, nothing changes. Even if we just went status quo, fire departments are understanding that we need to find our way. We need to find ways to make our dollars go farther. So one of the things that they talked about is being able to make use of bulk purchasing, for example. So they talked about how fire departments in the area use PPE type A and some use B. There's no difference. One's no better than the other. But they talked about the savings that they could make happen if we all moved to one type of gear, particularly if we were able to pick a gear that also, for example, CBRM used, so that we could join bulk purchasing. So even if there was no legislation, even if fire levies stayed the same, they identified significant ways for savings if we had an audit. And I do want to make reference to the part where it says in consultation with the Fire Protection Committee. They are hoping that they can actually work with a consultant who would engage in a buyback program program to get some of, if we decide to go with type A, if they would buy back type B and that we could use those funds. And you'll also notice that it talks about stations. So we did have conversation with insurance, for example, about ways that we could reduce the premiums or increase what we get for our premiums, but we can't move certain trucks from Arishat to Framboise because the trucks wouldn't fit in the Framboise station. So including all of that. So that's just a little bit of information about, and I really do want to commend the volunteer fire departments for making themselves available, and it was excellent discussion. This passed unanimously. So go ahead, Councillor Marchand, did you have?
Thank you, Ward. Well, in light that there's some changes coming in September of 2026, are we jumping the gun with this audit in case the recommendations that come out of that now will be superseded?
I think completely the opposite. I think we want to be ready for that legislation so that if somebody says, okay, look, municipalities, if you can show us you need $500,000, we'll give it to you. We want to be able to say, here, we absolutely need it. I mean, we know what, if we can't articulate what we have. The other thing is, listen, I have nothing but good things to say about the request we put in for the $200,000, but that we had to turn that around in just a few weeks. If we know in advance what fire departments need in advance, then when these surprise funding opportunities come along. So I will say that unanimously, the folks who are on FSANS and even our own EMO is one of the members of the fire school. They're adamant that this is critical.
I guess my point was, if there's legislation coming that may change how fire departments operate and how they're funded, not so much for grant funding, are we doing something here? This audit is going to get us a list of what we have, maybe what we need, what we should have to comply with rules that are there now. And I'm getting the impression that changes may come in September. What kind of changes? That the province may be looking after this? That how we operate as a committee may change? That's what I'm worried about. Are we doing this? It's fine to have an inventory of what we have. I think we have some of that now. But you're looking at it from a grant perspective and be ready. But I'm looking at it if things are going to totally change, the province is going to look after this or another group. Are we wasting this money now? And I know it's going to be in budget, but of 2026.
Right. I mean, the legislation is coming in the fall. This is looking to push this to budget deliberations so that we can put out an RFP that would get us the information. And as we engage in consultations, because there's supposed to be 6 months of consultations ahead of that, but I don't want to speak for the volunteer firefighters or the chiefs, but they were adamant that who sit on FSANS, who attend the meetings and so on, that they are adamant that this is important.
Okay, so just one more thing then. So they want this, because I wasn't at the November 22nd meeting. So they want this, and they're aware that there's going to be months of consultation before the fall decision from the province.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to say this conversation was really... It started out with, okay, folks, change is coming. How do we prepare for that change? That was that's how we outlined it. That was the chair of the committee, Chief... Paul Shear, sorry. That's how he introduced them. He opened the meeting, and that's how it started. Did you have something?
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, Councillor Marchand, but I think in the end, it's probably far better to have a real inventory of what we have. And then, in that way, at least, if there are changes that happen from the province, especially, we may be slightly ahead of the game of some other municipalities being ready. So I think, we don't know what's going to happen. As Yogi Berra said, the hard thing about predicting the future is it hasn't happened yet, but I think we'd be better prepared if we went ahead with this.
I guess my last comment, it's just in some of this motion, like we're trying to align up with regulations. And I got the impression from the warden that changes are going to be in regulations and legislation. I'm not sure what these changes are, but it's fine. If people want to go, I'm not against it for sure. I'm going to support it, especially for the fire departments.
Okay, hearing no other discussion on that, everybody in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Carry on, Councillor Marchand.
Thank you, Warden. The committee discussed the boat launch on the ocean side of the canal in St. Peters. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Fire Protection Services Committee and have Council draft another letter to the Minister in support of having a boat launch installed on the ocean side of the canal in St. Peters.
I'll second that.
So moved by Councillor Marchand, seconded by Deputy Warden Mumbercat. I would like to offer just a little bit of a chronology on that. So for many years, the St. Peters Volunteer Fire Department has highlighted that they own a vessel and they are offering to put themselves in harm's way to go out into the North Atlantic and do rescues. So just to put that in context. And they have asked for a way to launch that boat on the ocean side of the St. Peters Canal. And so the location is critical because it is so close to where the fire department and the boat are located. So to give a little chronology on that, back in 2023, and I really want to commend Chief Stone for his patience and his diligence and his doggedness on this. He sent me copies of many correspondence. So back in 2023, he asked for letters of support and got them from this municipality, from Trevor Boudreau, the MLA, from then MP Mike Kellaway, the Village of St. Peters, and Boudledeck First Nation. So all those letters went out toward the end of 2023. And I know that the fire department, our municipality, and the village got replies back saying, we don't have the money to do that. I assume that probably everybody did, but I've seen with my eyes those particular replies. So the chief has been really clear. You're talking about 3 big boulders that were placed there that if they were moved, that's all. There is no expense. The volunteer fire department has offered to handle all of that. So eventually, at the end of 2024, permission was granted pending. Impact and archaeological assessments, consultation with Indigenous communities and stakeholders, and formal agreements for use and access. Fair enough. So those, getting to that point, there were some meetings that, to be fair, had to be rescheduled because of weather. You know that happens. So some point in the winter or spring of 2025, after going through multiple people, because people in those positions change, and so the chief has followed that quite along. But in late August, although there was progress, it was slow, and Chief Stone wrote to so by late August, things had really slowed up. And so in October of 2025, he wrote to Jaime Batiste, and really one of his to ask to sort of move this along or to help be supportive of this, particularly because it has bounced through so many people because of staffing changes. And there's been no response, and so he's looking for us to write a letter to the minister, copied to our MP, just to sort of say, like, if the answer is going to be no, say so, but this is about moving 3 rocks. So that's a chronology for those of you who were here last council, where that's landed. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Thanks, Warden. I think that's a great chronology, and it puts it in perspective how long that this has been on the go. I will say, too, the situation is that if there is an emergency on the ocean side, the reality is that the St. Peters Department has to either work with a private landowner in Grand Grave area, I think, where they've launched boats from there, so that's going to take them 10, 15 minutes additional time, or they're heading up to River Bourgeois to another place. So it's a real problem, and seconds count on the water. Yeah. So
and I will say that there is a mechanism to go on the canal side and make your way, but only during business hours and through the locks, and so it's not a solution at all. So that's sort of where we are. And again, volunteers are asking to put themselves in harm's way to rescue people. That's what this is about. So, any other comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
The committee discussed the Fire Protection Services Committee terms of reference. I move the council accept the recommendation of the Fire Protection Services Committee and table the Fire Protection Services Committee terms of reference for new discussion when appropriate in 2026.
Can we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Sean Sampson. This is an item that has been on the agenda for the Fire Protection Services Committee for a while, and it got stuck there, but there is some concern that when you look at some of the documents that have been released, so in particular the Governance Model and Implementation Roadmap, Fire Governance Study, that it may be that if you look at, for example, our fire protection services, it doesn't mirror our CMP board. So it is very possible that you'll see a governance change in terms of what the composition and the makeup of this committee might be. So this just allows them to take it off their agenda from now until when legislation comes down. Any other discussion, questions? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries without.
Okay, great, so
Thank you, Ward. This concludes the report for the Fire Protection Services Committee for December 2025, and I move its adoption.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Marchand. So there's a motion to adopt the Fire Protection Services Committee report. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Warden Mumbercat. And all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So our next committee report is the RCMP Advisory Board. Councillor Brent Sampson, you okay to read that? Or Councillor Sean Sampson, very good.
Thank you, Warden. The RCMP Advisory Board report for December 2025. The RCMP Advisory Board met on December 10th, 2025. The RCMP Advisory Board discussed a membership request from Virginia Brooke, President of the Nova Scotia Association of Police Governance. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the RCMP Advisory Board and defer the request for an annual membership in the NSAPG to budget deliberations, and further move that Councillor Brent Sampson be appointed as the Board's representative effective upon confirmation of the membership.
Great. So we have a motion on the floor, seconded by Councillor Brian Marchand. Any discussion on that, other than to say thank you for Councillor Brent Sampson for putting his name up for that. That's excellent. Thank you. Okay. Did you have something to say? All right. So there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
This concludes the RCMP Advisory Board report for December 2025, and I move its adoption.
Great. We have a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Advisory Board, seconded by Councillor. So the moved and seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson to approve the RCMP Advisory Report. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Great. So there was a public hearing held just prior to this meeting. There are quite a number of pages that go with this public hearing. They start on pages 31 and carry on to page 30. I don't even know. There's a lot of them. Page 42. So I, as a result of this, am looking, so we're looking at second readings tonight. So I am looking for a motion that would say the following: the council give second reading approval for the amendments to plan to Central Richmond, Almadam, and St. Peter's area municipal planning strategies and land use bylaws to update definitions related to dwelling types to increase the number of multi-unit dwellings permitted as of right, allowing the development of fourplexes and other small-scale multi-housing forms, and to remove within the Central Richmond land use bylaw the requirement that accessory buildings be located no closer to the street than the main building. Is there anybody prepared to make that motion? Moved by Councillor Brian Marchand, seconded by Deputy Warden Mumbercat. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Wonderful. Moving on to new business. So we have a briefing note there. I spoke to the clerk, and we had two, so as you know, staff have been looking through our policies to see if there are any missing or any that we could repeal. And in doing so, the Director of Public Works identified two issues that would like to see addressed by the Bylaw and Policy Committee. So he has a briefing note that includes some concerns and some recommendations, but that's not for discussion tonight. The discussion tonight is whether council agrees to bring those to the Bylaw and Policy Committee. So there is a recommended motion, and I do want to reiterate that there's nothing in here that we are married to in terms of what we would say during our deliberations of Bylaw and Policy, but he has flagged for us why he would like to see this at that committee. Councillor Marchand?
Yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion. That council refer the sewer service charge bylaw number 52 and the solid waste bylaw number 17 to the Bylaw and Policy Committee's working list for review and discussion.
Seconded by Councillor Brent Sampson. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. And the next item, award of Basin Road lands, tender MOCR 202514. There is a staff briefing note on page 46 to 47, and the recommendation is listed below. Again, this would move us to a public hearing. Any comments, deliberation, question? If we have anybody, go ahead, CAO.
Madam Chair, if I may, just to help with council, if anyone has any questions right now, we can, at the public hearing, it will be disclosed who the proponent is, the lands, the PID, the appraisal, the value, the difference in the value and all that. That'll all come out at the public hearing. But for the benefit of council, in case anybody needs to consider anything, the proponent in question is Brila Homes, is the one that is the proponent that has put forward the tender for consideration, in case anyone on council needs to make any adjustments.
Go ahead, Councillor.
So yeah, given that information, probably in the past year or so, I've worked with them several times, so I'd declare a conflict on this. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Okay.
I guess, I don't know if you want, you're making a motion, do you want to go to the motion and then into discussion?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Just unless anybody else has any conflicts to declare.
No.
Hearing none? Yep. We can go to motion? Okay, so the motion you're making is to authorize the CAO to schedule a public hearing.
Yeah.
Over 10,000, but less than the appraised value for the purpose of increasing the availability of affordable housing in the municipality? Yes. Moved. Okay. Moved by Councillor Brian Marchand. Can we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Sean Sampson. Any discussion on that? Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you, and I know this is not a surprise because there were some emails exchanged, but I guess I would like some clarification on the process here, because the Municipal Government Act is pretty clear about sale of lands being something that councils can discuss in camera before proceeding to make a decision to move to a public hearing or to actually sell the piece of land. I know that we had this discussion, the RFP came in, when this landed on the agenda, we didn't have the information that CAO, thank you for providing that about Brila. I mean, to me, that's confidence building. But we also don't know what the bids were. We don't know. So I feel like the municipality has not had an opportunity, council has not had an opportunity to discuss whether or not we even want to move forward with a sale, let alone schedule a public hearing. So that my question, my problem with how this is rolling out is really process related. And again, you know, this is the second time on this agenda. I feel like we're being asked to make a decision with an absence of information. And the first one was the fire protection rate for me in Point Tepper, where we didn't have the information that you were, you know, glad that you were able to bring that to us today, Warden. But leading up to this meeting and at the committee of the whole, we did not have it. So we didn't have the 41,000.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, it was discussed, and I heard Councillor Marchand say it, so I made sure that I just double checked. But yeah.
Right, but that was an estimate. You didn't have a report from, we didn't have a report from staff.
We had a budget. I guess at budget, I had overheard the Director of Finance making that statement, what she thought it was on those numbers. But as the Warden stated, assessments in January could come in a lot lower, they could come in higher.
Right.
So, yeah, but so.
To cut you off there, sorry. So, yeah, so go ahead. Did you finish? Sorry.
Yeah, but I do think that overhearing someone saying it is not the same as receiving it in a staff report, right? So I guess this is the point I'm making, and I know that's me being probably picky on process, but, you know, I do think how you do things is every bit as important as what you do sometimes, and I just want to make sure that I'm not feeling like I'm in a vacuum of information. So that's the only comment I'll make on this. I do think that the comment that knowing now, and thank you, Troy, for providing the information about Breela, that is very confidence building. It will probably influence my decision in a more positive direction.
Go ahead.
All I want to say, I mean, I think staff has given us information based on the MGA, on the process, since this is undervalued. You probably don't have all those numbers, or I'm not sure if you do, but for selling something under the market value, they have to go to public hearing. So I'm assuming CAO, that's the process, and that's what he's asking for, permission to do it. He could probably go ahead and do it, but he's wanting council's authorization to go ahead and do it. So he has it, Troy has it there explained in the purpose.
For something when we don't have all the information? Is my
We're just giving authorization for public hearing. We can still refuse it out.
absolutely.
He has it, Troy has it stated here in his report, the council, even in, you know, the very last other options.
Can you press your button again?
Oh, sorry, Warden. Our CAO has it listed there in the end. The council may choose not to sell in the end anyway after the public hearing.
Well, and I
I
think.
don't want to beat it to death either, but I will say I'm following the legal advice on the
Yeah.
MGA and rolling out what needs to be done
Yep.
at this time.
Yep.
And the information required will be given at the time when council needs to make a decision.
And I will say that we have many committees, bylaw, policy, audit, PAC, that every single councillor is on, but it is customary to have committees like our Fire Protection Services where not every councillor is on there. And so we have committees that come to council and ask for some information. So Councillor Marchand and I were part of a committee because he's the councillor for that area. And so it's based on that recommendation that we're asking this. And it was something that we brought forth to legal repeatedly to see about process. But we will make note of your concerns, Deputy Warden, to our solicitor when we revisit issues like this. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So the record can reflect that Councillor Brent Sampson returned to the meeting following this discussion. So we're now on to correspondence. So there's no action required. We have one correspondence from Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities on page 48 regarding code of conduct for municipal elected officials. It's in response to our letter of October 30th. So if anybody has any questions about that, I don't know that the NSFM has any additional information, Deputy Warden, about progress for code of conduct.
No.
Okay. Great. Okay, so moving on to a review of action items. Those are on pages 49 to 54. If there are any questions on that matter. Hearing none. So there were no items added to the agenda. So item 17 on our agenda is holiday message. And so on behalf of staff and council, I want to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday season and nothing but health and peace in the new year. That said, Councillor Brent Sampson is going to take an opportunity to offer up a bit more on that theme. Over to you.
Thank you, Warden. It's the informal part of the meetings for the year. So we get these some years, not others, so yes. We'll give it a go here once more. Christmas 2025. 'Twas the week before Christmas, and council was meeting. The time had arrived for my old Christmas greeting. While Brian was focused on his building addition, it may not come easy with the planning commission. Now Lois was worried about the deer population. 8 reindeer arriving only adds to her frustration. Amanda is settling into her new role, although some suspect MLA is her real goal. Troy and Shelley always keep us in line. The help they provide us is truly divine. Now, Sean's vote was essential for the rate and Point Tepper. I'm so darn excited I just might buy him supper. This new council group seems to be getting it right, so Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Short and sweet. Thank you very much. I will say that is the only time I have been satirized or roasted that didn't include reference to color coding. So I'm very pleased. It's nice to sort of grow into this role. Thank you very much. All right. So seeing that there is no further business on tonight's agenda, the meeting of council is adjourned. I would like to remind folks that when we return back in January, our meetings will resume. Oh. Question period, sorry. We now, no Merry Christmas for you yet. We open for, I apologize, we open for a 10-minute question period. So we'll take questions from the gallery or by phone. Again, 226-9885. And question period here is restricted to the items on the agenda that follow committee reports, but that can include anything on the action item list. Apologies. Nobody's rushing the stage. So while we're waiting, I will just remind folks that when we come back in January, our meetings will resume their regular schedule. So Committee of the Whole will be held on the second Tuesday of the month, and regular council will be on the 4th. So hearing no questions from the gallery or from the phone lines, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and we are adjourned.
We all get a little
awards for recognition policy. So that budget line, is that just for retirement and the awards that you get for however many years in service, or are there other things that are included in that?
I believe the motion read in addition to or also including. So there are some items that were not included in that awards that we are hoping to capture with this move. And it is really in response. I can't discuss anything that happened in camera, but I think I can speak in broad strokes to say that this staff, particularly with our director, is very adamant about making sure that items are not listed in sundry account, or they are not lumped into larger GLs, so that we can have a distinct budget line that makes more sense to folks who want to take a look at it. So it would include things that are in that awards, and it includes others. So I believe we mentioned compassion items, appreciation, and there was another word, retirement, yeah, because retirement actually is, yeah.
So would that, and so would we be seeing the changes when there are any additions?
Would we be seeing the changes when there are any additions?
If there's something that's not in specific now, that you're saying you want to add things to it.
Yes. Yeah, so for example, that was the second part of the motion, yes. And also to refer it to budget deliberation, so henceforth, there would always be a budget line that specifically had items listed, which was very clear.
So anything that was put through sundry, does that mean it wasn't a budgeted item?
No, I in very general strokes, what I'm saying is the efforts here on the part of staff are to make sure that anything that was in any other budget line, whether it was administrative or sundry or anything else, is clearly listed in a GL that aligns with that specific thing and doesn't get sort of umbrellaed.
Okay. Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. This is a hard meeting to adjourn.
I'm telling you.
Any, do we have, we're okay? Yes. So now I'm adjourning.